Alright, sweet. Just setting up the last little bits, just like usual. And then we will be good to go. Okay, setting up the Twitch chat. Cool. One more thing. Okay, coolio. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, everything is good to go. Alright. RoopleeTV episode 9 starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Saturday, April 19th, 2014, and welcome to RoopleeTV episode number 9. Hi everybody, I'm Rooplee. I'm going to give you some more epic Dota 2 analysis, but first, oh my gosh, Starladder Season 9 Finals, Semifinals? Oh my gosh. So, there was an epic game yesterday that I just had to talk about today. It was, we're going to go through it today, but it was Game 2 of EG versus Alliance. I'm not even going to talk about who won Game 1 or anything like that, as little spoilers as possible, but I do want to show you guys Game 2 because it was awesome, and what they did during the teams are just so cool. So I'm super excited for this game. Yeah, that's all there is to it. There's been a lot of tournaments going on in Dota recently and a lot of finals, so there's a lot of Dota to catch up on. If you guys enjoy just watching Dota games, now is like the heyday, because this is when everybody is trying to figure out everything for the International that's coming up in just a couple of months. So, middle of July, by the way, the International. Everyone is just solidifying their teams, getting everything ready for it. So the qualifiers are probably coming up fairly soon, I imagine, because, you know, in 2.5 months is the International. So yeah, woo, exciting. But this is where you really start to see the patch come into shape, and you really see solidified strategies from all of the teams. So now is the best time before the International to watch Dota. Well, right before the International is really, really good too, because you can see people really refine strategies. But the patch has had time to settle. So now we're ready to see like what teams have come up with from 6.80 patch. And it's really, really cool. So let's go ahead and just hop on into it. I'll go ahead and boot up the game. Oh, yeah. Usually I let you guys know what the actual game idea is. I'll show it at the end of the at the end of the game, as well as just have it in the YouTube link. I'll try to do that as I can. So here we go. Let's hop on into it. I'm going to talk about the draft first, and then we'll go into the game. So this game was from Starladder Season 9. It was during the LAN finals, and they do have, on the side of EG, Fear does have Tennis Elbow. So Cloud9's Eternal Envy is sitting in as the carry position for Evil Geniuses. And then we've got Alliance, who have all 5 of their members ready to go. So we're going to just go ahead and go into the draft. I'll talk about the draft a bit, and yeah, then we'll go into the game. I'll just talk about it as they're picking and banning. So a couple things I want to note about these bans. They're pretty straightforward bans, but if you look, the Ember Spirit pickup, Ember Spirit did get through, but Alliance and Evil Geniuses both did something really nifty, and it really shows the evolution of the Ember Spirit pick. So Ember Spirit is generally a first pick, first ban type of material, so he gets picked first, but you can see that Alliance, they go ahead and ban heroes, or they ban the Treant Protector, which EG is known to run really, really well with Ember Spirit, as we may remember before when Artesia ran that mid on the Ember Spirit episode of RoopleeTV for Dota. So they ban out the Treant Protector, and on the same side, Evil Geniuses bans out the Dazzle, because Dazzle works really well with Ember Spirit. He has the Shallow Grave can basically make sure Ember can get out of anything alive, and his negative armor is a huge buff to Ember Spirit and his Sleight of Fist. So they both ban, instead of directly banning the Ember Spirit as a hero, they ban the things that make the Ember Spirit extremely powerful. And in those circumstances, you can see that Ember Spirit, in and of himself, is not as powerful as a hero as what you put to stop him or to help him out. So right now, if Dazzle was still there, Alliance would pick Dazzle just to, block Evil Geniuses from getting the Dazzle. Also, Dazzle's ult works really well against Ember Spirit because it's a positive armor and negative armor both at the same time. So that gives him a really good buff against the Ember Spirit. And Ember Spirit is all about mobility and just slicing through teams. So they do pick up the Disruptor. So Batrider and Disruptor, this is probably something that Alliance has thought about and they've talked about, is that if the enemy team picks up Ember Spirit, we're going to grab Batrider and Disruptor. So Batrider, he can pick out heroes, and Ember Spirit, when he's stuns, whatever, he's kind of like a weaver. If you catch him off guard, he can die really quickly. And Batrider is really good at making any hero out of position. That's his whole entire thing, is to just make a hero out of position. Disruptor does the same thing, but Disruptor also has a silence. So he's also a direct against the Ember Spirit. And Evil Geniuses, what they do in response is they pick up Universe's Darkseer. So Darkseer combos very well with Ember Spirit in a lot of ways. The Ion Shell gives a bonus up to 90 damage per second while he's inside a fist, so it's like using Flame Guard and then using another Flame Guard plus 50% on top of it. So the AoE damage, he can do like 300 AoE damage by the time Sleight of Fist is over, and Vacuum keeps everybody in a tight little ball to do maximum effectiveness. Basically, the entire draft right now has been focused on this one hero. Since Lycan is not in the pool, they've been focusing on aiding the Ember Spirit whenever they can, and also countering the Ember Spirit whenever they can, while at the same time playing heroes that both teams are very comfortable with. So let me turn down the sound just a little bit because it might get a little loud. Okay, that might be good. We'll see. But Yeah, so this game throughout the entire time has been just focused on Ember Spirit counters, while at the same time Admiral Bulldog is really good on Batrider. S4 is also really good on Batrider, so it keeps their positions open. And I'm sure Alliance has been practicing the Disruptor recently just because of the Ember Spirit. So they're picking heroes that they're fairly comfortable with or have a known strategy for, which is very, very important for these teams. Especially Alliance, because they have a very refined strategy when they play. And then the Nyx Assassin gets banned out because Nyx Assassin has been run as an offlane solo quite a bit, and they're afraid that S4 might be playing the Batrider. So that's why that's banned out. The Ancient Apparition and the Visage. One thing I want to talk about for the Visage ban, this is an indirect ban to Drow Ranger. Alliance knows that EG is going to run some form of Ember Spirit mid with Arteezy, plus some form of carry for Eternal Envy. And if you were to give PPD Visage, or Zai Visage, and then at the same time have a Drow Ranger, you can push through the bases, and you have two good mid-game carries. And they ban out the Visage just to stop that. I mean, Visage is a good hero in and of itself. He does a lot more things versatility-wise, but they want to stop the Drow Ranger Visage combo. Instead of banning out like a Bane, because honestly, Alliance would also like to ban out the Bane. The Bane is a very good defensive hero and would combo with the Ember Spirit to keep him alive. That's the reason why we have Dazzle and Treant Protector. Usually, teams that are drafting Ember Spirit recently, they pick one hero that combos with Ember Spirit, like the Darkseer, and another hero that protects the Ember Spirit, like the Shadow Demon. So Shadow Demon is not as good as the Tree or the Dazzle as far as keeping Ember alive, especially in the early game. He's probably, I don't know, he's better. He's not as good as Dazzle because Dazzle has a 5-second, invulnerability. But he is the next pick for Evil Geniuses as far as like the tiers of keeping Ember Spirit alive. So, like I said, Bane would have also been a very good choice. I don't know how comfortable PPD is with Bane. I've seen him play Bane before, so in my opinion, that would be another very good pick. The sleep would keep him alive, as well as just having lane dominance with Bane. So Bane and Shadow Demon are both similar heroes in that regard. And Alliance picks up Marana. I forgot to talk about the Marana, but we have Marana and Storm Spirit picked up. So Storm Spirit is really a nice laner against the Ember Spirit, because Storm can go toe-to-toe with him mid and will rush an Orchid. I mean, this is how you should play Storm Spirit when playing against somebody like an Ember Spirit, is you want to rush the Orchid. Usually as a Storm Spirit, you either want to get, you can get Bloodstone if you're doing really, really well. Orchid is the standard pickup, and BKB if you're doing poorly. So Storm Spirit will rush the Orchid this match. If it makes sense to have an Orchid on Storm Spirit, you should rush it as him. In general speaking, you can get treads beforehand if you're not doing as well, and if you need the hit points and last hit damage and mana by tread switching. But in general, you want to pick up the Orchid. So you have that, and then you also have Marana, which if Marana ever catches somebody out with an arrow, they're pretty well dead. That's just how it goes with that hero. Also a very good safe lane solo. It frees up your supports to do whatever they want, whether it's farm or smoke gank or whatever. So that's really nice. And then we pick up the Sand King. So Marana just is a nice carry that can solo any lane. Like, can solo whatever lane she's in and just brings nice utility and all-around versatility to the teams. So we get the Sand King pickup for Evil Geniuses, which basically says, hey, our team fight is going to be great. And this pickup is awesome. Awesome. Yes! I love. So personally, I love Silencer as a hero. And he's never really in ever, except Vanscore plays him. You'll see some like Empire will pick up Silencer. It's pretty slim pickings as far as Silencer goes. So to see Alliance pick up Silencer just says they thought about this quite a bit. I'm sure this is really awesome because I really think that Silencer will be surging up in the future because of Ember Spirit picks. Silencer is one of the best supports against Ember. He doesn't lock him down directly, but he has multiple silences and a disable through Last Word, as well as his ult. So he can silence, disable, and take down an Ember Spirit from anywhere on the map. So a global presence and a nice way to just pick out a hero. And it's also a good counter to the team fight of the Sand King. Yeah. So the Doom and the Lifestealer, I forgot to mention, Doom and Lifestealer were banned. Loda plays a nice Lifestealer, and they don't want to give him the Lifestealer just because they don't want it. And Evil Geniuses picks up the Luna. So Luna is a very nice teamfight hero, a very, very good teamfight hero. Comes online early and also can carry late game. She is vulnerable in the early game, but they have Shadow Demon and Sand King to back her up. Shadow Demon will be playing double duty, protecting EG's Arteezy, as well as Cloud9's Eternal Envy. So Shadow Demon will have to bounce back and forth between the mid and the safe lane to keep them safe, but Zai on the Sand King will have just a fine time. And Alliance's goal right here, you can see, based on the supports they have, these supports don't have lockdown. They have plenty of lockdown with all of their other 3 heroes, but these 2 heroes do not have lockdown, and that means that they're going to have to coordinate well with whoever does have lockdown in their lane in order to get a kill, because they cannot surprise the heroes. They will have to just get the surprise from the other heroes, the ones that are actually in the lane and farming. So go ahead and just go down to normal speed, and we're into the game. So we've got Aki on Disruptor. EGM is playing the Silencer. We've got S4 on Storm Spirit. Loda is playing the Mirana. And Admiral Bulldog is on Batrider for Alliance. EG Zai is on Sand King. Eternal Envy is on the Luna, and it's also a hero he really likes. Universe plays a Spectacular Darkseer. Arteezy is playing Ember Spirit, like I talked about, and PPD is on the Shadow Demon. So, one thing here that I want to point out is that Aki is scouting to see what EG is doing. And he's trying to just see what's going on. He saw a couple of heroes, so there's backup here for him. Nobody's really skilled anything yet on either. Well, Eternal Envy has skilled his aura because it's the best thing to skill, and Sand King is skilled to stun. But the thing here is that right there. So I'm gonna go back and actually give you time to actually see it, but I took off the view so you can see just the Radiant side, and as you can see, they're making their way through the jungle, and right here, PPD is just outside of range of Aki, and he drops a ward. Being outside of the range is very key because he dropped the ward and immediately turned around. That would let Aki know where this ward is, but he did not see this ward dropped. You see, he even has 2 sentries for this because both the Silencer and the Disruptor need levels and need farm, and in order to be really good, like, they're not like the level 2 wonders like Crystal Maiden are, stuff like that. They're actually heroes that need some levels in order to be super effective. I would say probably about level 3 on Silencer is when he starts doing something, and you want to get his ult up, usually, you know, as soon as possible, but within 10 minutes, you generally want Silencer's ultimate because that makes the hero what he is. So Aki is able to stop this one. He's able to get that ward down, which is good, but he does not know where this ward is, and he thinks the ward is probably somewhere, you know, up here or something. Maybe he's just trying to counter the rune ward, but they did not see it go down, so they don't know where it's at. Zai does get the illusion rune, and then they're just going to keep going from there. Alrighty. So, cool. We've got Aki just going down, just going to protect this ward. You'll see the power of this ward in the future, but for right now, we've got Darkseer right here against the tri-lane that got dewarded, so he doesn't know about it. We've got Admiral Bulldog on the Bat Rider against the Sand King and Luna for now with PPD. Oh, actually, gotta go back. So this ward right here, I just went back 10 seconds. This ward is really nice. So this ward was able to see PPD coming this way, and this let S4 know that he was getting snuck up from behind. Had he not known that, he would have probably died there, honestly. But it didn't look like it because he backed up so early, but you know, one Searing Chains after a disruption, and he could have taken a boatload of damage, but he does not take any, or hardly any, just one, enough for one tango. So anyway, that's that. So now we're going to check out this lane. So what happens also, one thing I want to point out is that this ward is still seeing PPD go up this way. But Admiral Bulldog does not catch on. He did not see that happening. He was too focused on just fighting the lane against Eternal Envy and watching out for Zai. So he does not know that PPD is right here. He, in fact, advances just a little too far, gets caught out by the disruption, and then gets hit, just dies. So the reason why he died so quickly is because Eternal Envy has plus 14 right-click damage on all of this coming on. Even the Disruptor Illusions have the plus 14 base damage. They don't do, they don't do 100% damage. I forget how much they do. They only do 30%. But even that, plus 14 damage on top of the 30% is pretty good. So that, coupled with Sand King's awesome stun to just trap him in this little corner right here, let them get enough right clicks in order to get the first blood. So now, that was first blood. I need to actually go back because something happened here down on the other side that we're going to talk about. So, okie dokie. We've got Aki just as the disruptor right here. Silencer is doing a lot of damage against the EG. So this was happening at the same time that Bat Rider was up here getting ganked. So Silencer is able to stand in the lane, and with the glaives is able to freely harass Darkseer as he wants. Disruptor's just now skilled Glimpse at level 1. One thing I want to talk about just a little bit is waiting to skill your points. So if you look, Aki only skilled his point, we'll go back into it, at 1 minute and 11 seconds into the game. He didn't have his skill point even skilled, and there was no reason to, because Glimpse is really good against Darkseer if he surges like he just did. So Aki skills his Glimpse right at that time, and EGM didn't skill until he was in the lane like that, because Last Word does 150 damage, which at level 1 is an amazingly powerful nuke. But his glaives are really good for harassment. So we'll see that as we go back into the game, that Aki was able to glimpse, and then right down here you can see that Loda is just ready for this. Shoots the arrow to stun Universe. They know he has no burst of speed because of the ion shell, and he gets picked off as well. So that was really good play by Aki to just wrap around. Dewarding this actually is what netted them that kill. So this ward right here gives Aki the freedom to just go up and around like that. And EGM was just there. Gets +2 intelligence. Nice little bonus. That even not having lockdown, aside from Loda's arrow, they were able to get that. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that they need their core in the lane to be able to help set up for everything. Because they don't have any real disables. So, right now, S4 is stacking this for Admiral Bulldog. But I want to point out that Universe went to the jungle while Bulldog is still trying to do something up here. And this is always an interesting thing. So for an offlaner, there's always the decision at the pro level. Usually doesn't happen in pubs as much just because of the way games are played. But at the pro level, if as an offlaner you die early on, it's a really bad sign if you die within the first couple of minutes, because you're not getting that experience. You don't have any experience, and you know that you can die again and just continually feed the lane. But at the same time, abandoning the lane gives their carry free farm. So you have to make the right judgment as to whether you should stay in the lane and try and contest the carry, knowing if you can stay alive or not. And Admiral Bulldog chooses to stay in the lane, but Universe does not, because Universe is level 1, has no defense whatsoever. He has no burst of speed, he has no blink, he has no Firefly, nothing. Admiral Bulldog, as you can see, did skill Firefly at level 1. Let's see, Universe only has Ion Shell, and he's level 1. So what he's going to do is he's going to stack this large camp, this medium camp as much as he can, to just get the experience going. Like, he needs to get his levels up, but he cannot stay in this lane against the Mirana, the Silencer, and the Disruptor, especially since this ward is down. So that's an interesting thing to point out, is that because this ward is down, this really cuts off how Aki is going to get levels. He cannot pull anymore. So he cannot pull, EGM cannot pull, and Loda is just going in the lane. So these two supports are going to get really starved because of that, because of this ward. That makes going to the jungle even an easier option for Universe, because he knows they cannot pull, so the best they can do is get Loda free farm in this lane. Whereas there is nothing up here stopping PPD from getting farm. In fact, he's got a pull going right now. So PPD can get farm in this lane, and he's actually trying to pull this camp to stack it as well for Universe. But the fact that he can get these pulls and Alliance cannot get these pulls mean that Universe can just go safely into this lane, and they know from here on out that they can get Eternal Envy pretty much free farm, especially with that first blood. As long as they keep PPD close enough, Eternal Envy is fine. And Eternal Envy is almost level 3, and Admiral Bulldog is level 1. And there's no real threat from either of the mids transitioning into another lane until about 5 minutes in, when they get their level 6. Neither one of these heroes can gank a different lane until they're level 6, and most often they cannot. So that's why Universe went to the jungle and Admiral Bulldog did not. We'll see in a bit why that actually hurts Admiral Bulldog and why it's a good decision for Universe. So Universe already has a stack here thanks to PPD and Zai stacking the camps up. Zai was able to pick up the double damage. And yeah, so the most interesting thing right now is the fact that Universe is able to get his levels and Admiral Bulldog is not. So he actually transitions into the jungle. They do get it. S4 does get a stack for Admiral Bulldog, so it's not terribly bad. But this extra medium camp stack was really good for Universe, and Aki and EGM are now going to transition into full stacking duty. So they stack this large camp. They're going to stack this camp. You know, this camp right here is getting stacked right now. They're just going to stack these camps for Admiral Bulldog. That's pretty much their goal, because they can't really get the experience themselves. They don't have a powerful mid to disable the Ember Spear and get him away. Even S4 knows this, so he's going the one Vortex and more Overload build, and that will get him more lane dominance, because Overload gives you more bonus damage. Sorry, my StarCraft instincts are kicking in and I'm saying Overlord, but he's just getting this for more right click to be able to win his lane against RTC, because they don't have disables on their supports, so they're just going to get these supports to stack as much as they can and farm as much as they can, while at the same time securing mid lane and securing their safe lane. EG, on the other hand, like I said, PPD is kind of on like double, triple duty right now. So he's stacking that camp for Universe. He's also trying to keep RTZ safe, because there is definitely a chance that RTZ could get into a lot of trouble. Actually, I don't know where that rune was. Okay, so it was a haste rune up here, and EGM denies it. Smart play by EGM. He doesn't need the haste rune, and S4 is got a full bottle. So, smart idea. And like I said, the Storm Spirit's goal right now is to just ensure that he outfarms Arteezy on the Ember Spirit. He just wants to keep ahead of the Ember, so he cannot leave the lane right now. That's very, very important that the Storm Spirit has to keep this going. And EG knows this as well, so they're going to keep PPD here just to keep Arteezy safe. If they had the Treant Protector instead of the Shadow Demon, PPD could be over here. He could be pulling this camp. He could be pulling this camp, while at the same time having the Living Armor to keep Arteezy alive. But since they do not, they have to keep the Shadow Demon more in this region. Like, he has to come in this region by the jungle, by those 3 camps, just to be on call in case Arteezy gets jumped. Even a TP scroll could be too much because, I mean, it's very expensive when you're this level. I would not be against getting a TP scroll so that you can get more levels like this more safely, but at the same time, not having to use a TP early on as a support is very important. So, as we can see, EGM and Aki are both like... So, Aki is actually just soaking up some experience and stuff from Loda, who's getting free farm. Eternal Envy is getting complete free farm, and PPD is keeping busy, and Zai is keeping busy. So, they're doing a really good job of just out-farming their opponents. They're getting all of these triple stacks on all of the camps. They don't have any on the Ancients yet, but they're getting all sorts of stacks, and actually the Sandstorm from Sand King can farm jungle camps as well. So that's the recent buff to Sandstorm, the reduced cooldown, as well as I think they might have increased the damage on it, made it really good for passive games. So Sand King, he can gank, and he can also go passive by stacking the jungle and killing the camps, just like he did there. Eternal Envy goes for the Midas Rush, which is really important to note because Luna in general tends to, on average, outcarry a Mirana. And Mirana did not get a Midas, which puts a lot of pressure on Alliance right now. So Alliance have more, I would call them, both teams actually have late game oriented supports. The Shadow Demon is a really good late game because Disruption is always really powerful and Demonic Purge slows people down. But Silencer and Disruptor are both very late game oriented supports as well, and Sand King is a phenomenal support at all points in the game. Sand King is actually a really good hero, and I'm surprised we don't see him as much as we do. But anyway, so we've just got Eternal Envy farming. He's got a Hand of Midas. He's got a Ring of Basilisk. 51 last hit, 7 minutes in. So he is doing fantastic. Like, there is no problem whatsoever. And he's got enough to kill any hero if he does get ganked. So EG is looking really sharp right now. They're looking really good. Even though they are, like, losing their tower right here, this is one advantage that Alliance have, is that they're able to put pressure on this tower. PPD as a support is actually able to get the experience from this, which is really nice. He's able to get that experience, whereas Alliance just has to completely abandon their lane because one Lucent Beam, and that'll give Eternal Envy enough time to get up close to them and then get an Eclipse in. But PPD is able to get the deny on the tower, which is really huge. It's 1,000 gold that Alliance doesn't get. Even though they don't have this map control anymore, this is the least important tower in the game. Your offlane tier 1 is the least important tower in the game. It's obviously huge in the fact of the gold you get from it and the experience, but as far as map control goes, the mid and the safe lane towers are amazingly important. So, I just want to pause it for a second. Oh, hey. Pause it for a second. I actually was too busy talking about the towers to note something. So, at this point in the game, one thing I want to note is the experience. We've got EGM is level 3. We've got Disruptor is level 3. And then we have Shadow Demon is level 5.5. or 5, and then Sand King is also level 5. So a good way to tell how a game is going at any point in the game, at least early to mid game, is to see what level the supports are versus the other supports. So in this game, we see that both Disruptor and Silencer are level 3. You see that Sand King and Shadow Demon are level 5 or 5.5, which means that in the next minute or so, EG is going to have level 6 on both the Sand King and the Shadow Demon. Whereas we're not going to see level 6 until like minute 12 or minute 13 for Alliance because they're so far behind. And that just shows that EG now has this window. With a Sand King ult and a Shadow Demon ult, they can pretty much kill anyone on the map. Even Loda is in huge trouble with that because Shadow Demon can purge, and that will slow down Loda even if he jumps. And the disruption into Sand King stun, into Sand King ultimate, coupled with anything else, can kill anybody on the map, pretty much. S4 is pretty safe as far as Alliance goes, but EG have this big opportunity window, like a 3-minute window, where their supports both have their ultimates, and on the side of Alliance they don't. So yeah. Thank you. Sorry, I just now looked at my chat. And it is lagging just a little bit. Let me play with settings just a little bit to try and get that going. Just a little bit here. I'm going to play with the settings. So, settings, and then, okay. Let's turn it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to try and... I'm just playing with my settings just a little bit in order to get it to go. Just to go a little bit better. Okay, and then let's see if I can get more bandwidth. I'm sorry for the delay, guys. I'm just messing with it just a little bit. I can actually hop back into the game, I suppose, just to see a little bit more. But let's see, maximum bitrate. So bump this up. Okay, maybe this will help. Let's see. Thank you for going into that, for letting me know in chat. So we're going to go ahead and start up the game again. Let's see if this is a little bit better. Hopefully it's a little better. Okay, we're back into the game. And I want to talk about this right here. So we have Storm Spirit right here, who is going to go and attack the, or he's set up for a kill on Universe right here. Yeah, so the Storm Spirit is set up for a kill on Universe, while at the same time he's got Aki and EGM to back him up. So let's go ahead and start this up. It looks like my obs is lagging just a little bit. No, I think we're good. I think we're good now. Okay, cool. Alright, we're good. Let's go back into it. So hopefully it's a little better. I apologize, like I said before. But let's go ahead and start this up. So Storm Spirit will go in, and he's actually got this kill on Universe. Pretty well handed to him. See, Disruptor doesn't even need to use his glimpse. But at the same time, Arteezy is going to go down here, and he's looking for a kill on Loda. Since Loda's half health, he's able to jump in like this. Ember Spirit, just his mobility is insane. So he's able to just jump in and get that kill right there. And there we go. Cool. Alright, so yeah, Arteezy was able to get a kill, and then S4 was able to get a kill. So that's really cool. I I mean, it's really good for both of them. Like I said, I apologize, guys, for the broadcast settings. I'll have to play with this a little bit some other time, but it's looking a little bit better. So let's go. Okay, cool. All right, so we got the kills both from Storm Spirit and both from Ember Spirit, which are both good kills. And they're both really good kills, and it really just helps their mid players out. There hasn't been too much action before then, but one thing I do want to point out is that Admiral Bulldog did get his blink. So he's going to be able to go, and this is the power of the surprise blink. So that's what I like to call it, is you want to try and hide any new items that you get until you use them. Eternal Envy didn't know that Batrider was there, and he also didn't know that Batrider had a blink. So by being able to blink in like that, he was able to just get the kill. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, he was able to get the kill just like that, and yeah, cool. sorry, I'm super distracted, guys, because I'm trying to watch the stream because it was lagging. Hopefully it's better now. Either way, the video will be up on YouTube, and you guys will be able to check it out in full frame rates. So cool. Anywho, one thing I want to point out right now is that it's 10 minutes into the game, and we see that Shadow Demon is almost level 7. Sand King is level 6 right now, so he will be getting his epicenter. Whereas Disruptor is level 4, and Silencer is level 5. Like I was talking about, there's this opportunity window. So they're going to abuse this on the side of EG, and they're going to be able to just work with it from there. So the Mirana ult was used. It was just used to try and get this kill up top. So they're trying to get this kill on Zai, but Zai knows what's happening, and he's just going to hide, which is really smart by him. Yeah, see, Loda and S4 were trying to get that kill. They're trying to focus on getting EGM that level 6, since he's so close to level 6 compared to Ake. He's half a level ahead, so not too terribly much, but it is really dangerous in mid right now, because right now Arteezy is looking for the Roshan, and yeah. One more thing I want to note is that Mirana, Loda did get a delayed Midas, so he got a Midas right now after the phase boots and after the Ring of Basilisk. And that is because this game has been so passive that they know it's going to be a longer game. It's just a longer game, and they want to take it into the late game. So they go for that. They go for the delayed Midas, not because they wanted it delayed, but because they saw how the game was going, and Loda makes a smart decision to say, hey, this game is going to take a while. I'm grabbing a Midas now so that I'm way better than I would be 20 minutes from now. So he grabs the Midas, knowing that no real items are going to help him right now either. And I think that's a really smart decision by Loda. Granted, he should have gotten the Midas earlier, but that's okay. He didn't know that ahead of time. Immediately, something else I want to point out is that there is actually a smoke right here. My graphics are not cooperating, but there's a smoke right here. So EG is going to go ahead and wrap around for a smoke, and then go in. So Arteezy goes, and he is able to just pick off Aki. This was a little bit of a miscommunication because the Batrider ultimate got disjointed by Disruptor pulling somebody back, or pulling Arteezy back. So Arteezy goes in. He goes in really far, and he actually gets stopped right here underneath the tower, taking the tower damage. And then he ends up dying. Well, he ends up getting saved temporarily, but he'll end up dying. Zai's positioning and his patience is really good here. He waits until like everybody is around, and he just comes in with Darkseers Ion Shell on top of him and is able to clean up, secure both of the kills on Silencer as well as Batrider. Another thing I want to note is that Arteezy did buy back here, so he's going to try and make something happen, but Aki, with his short respawn timer being level 5, doesn't really make too big of a difference, and Arteezy goes really far to try and, you know, compensate for the fact that he did buy back, but he didn't get anything done from that, so it's a wasted buyback, and a wasted buyback is really bad at any point in the game. Even though he's 2-1-2 with, you know, he does have 47 last hits, which isn't the best for this point in the game. You can see that S4 has 59, but the buyback is just killer for him because he needs those levels and he needs that experience right now, and yeah, so that was just really killer for him, and he didn't get anything really accomplished from it. So yeah, so what we see now is that Loda is just getting farm. Loda is getting farm down in this bottom lane. He's going to just be getting these last hits, getting as much farm as possible. Cloud9's Eternal Envy is farming up these Ancients, so he's going to farm up right here and just get this Ancient stack, or, you know, work on this Ancient stack, while the smoke is just countering any form of initiation they have on Cloud9. Cloud9's Eternal Envy, sorry, on Eternal Envy. They know this is going on, or they suspect it's going on. So actually, they just want to go in and Roche, but everyone's missing. So Admiral Bulldog goes and scouts. They find Eternal Envy up here, and that's really, really nice for the side of Alliance, because they were able to pick off the Luna and stop this stack from being farmed. Well, at the same time, there's this big team fight going on, and everything was shot off at the same time for fear of, you know, just dying. Aki is going to take a beating, but he was able to get Arteezy out of there to keep the Storm Spirit alive temporarily. So they're trying to just keep that safe. Now I want to jump down here. One thing that's really cool here is that S4, he knows he's going to die, so he's buying items and he's actually farming. He's trying to get these last hits because he knows PPD is right here and Zai is right here. There's no chance he can get out, and he just dies. He doesn't pop his wand. He doesn't panic at all. He just knows he's going to die and takes as many advantages as he can out of it, which is to buy this TP scroll. So he buys the TP scroll, he buys the Robe of the Magi, and then he dies with honor. So yeah, he does die. I mean, it happens, but he made the best out of a bad situation, and he's just going to come back from that. Soon, he's going to just come back and keep farming. Alrighty, so we have EGM. Like we saw, he's level 7 now. We do have Disruptor, who just hit level 6 right before. He hasn't gained any experience since he used his ultimate, so he's really lacking on experience. The map control is definitely in EG's favor right now, just with the Ember Spirit being able to jump around in the Sand King. They have map control, which is bad because of the way that the heroes are set up. Sorry, I jumped back. I totally missed this. So we have S4 and Loda together. They can go and they jump on Arteezy, and they're able to secure this kill. So Arteezy pops a haste rune and tries to get out, but he cannot get out in time. Just the mobility between Mirana and Storm Spirit make it unable for Arteezy to get out. So he dies. He dies again without really getting any farm. And like I was going to talk about before, the lineups from Alliance and EG are, well, especially the one from Alliance is interesting because it's kind of counterintuitive. So we have Storm Spirit, Mirana, and Batrider, who are really good at initiation. So Batrider is one of the best initiators in the game. And then we have Storm Spirit, who is also one of the best initiators in the game. And Loda's Mirana can catch up to any of that. But on the other side, we have the Disruptor and we have the Silencer, who are extremely good at counter initiation. And by that, I mean we have... So, Disruptors doesn't go into the fight first. What he does is he secures the fight after the other team comes in or tries to escape, which plays well with Batrider and his ability to pull somebody to them, but at the same time it lends itself to a very defensive play. Same thing goes with Silencer. If EG was to jump in and then try to cast all their spells, Silencer will silence, Disruptor will lay down his kinetic field and then lay down his static field. And they'll be silenced, they'll be stuck, and then they'll be silenced again. And then they'll be decimated by the rest of the team for Alliance. But at the same time, they have a Batrider and a Storm Spirit who want to gank. So they have a very versatile lineup, and it lends themselves to both offensive and defensive plays, which is kind of interesting. In the fact that, like, you know, you can take advantage of both ends to a varying level of degree, or a varying degree of success. It makes their lineup very versatile, but at the same time, it makes their lineup not specific to any one goal in particular. They don't really have a pushing lineup. We can go back into the game to see, just so you can see the team lineups. So Alliance doesn't really have a pushing lineup. I mean, they have Batrider and they have Mirana that can kill creep waves, but they don't really have anybody to take down towers. But at the same time, EG has a very defined team format. What they want to do is they have the Luna, the Darkseer, and the Ember Spirit and the Sand King, who all are just huge on team fights. So they want to team fight. This is where the Silencer pickup was really smart, because Silencer is one of the best counter initiations for big teamfight heroes in the game, like bar none. He's not picked up very often because he does need the levels more so than other supports, and he can't gank like other supports. He's good for lane dominance, but not for ganking and smokes, and he's not as versatile as a support as, say, you know, Crystal Maiden or Bane or, you know, any of the other popular ones, Visage, for example. He's just not as popular and not as versatile. So in this situation, he is a really good pickup against the EG lineup, which is very focused on exactly what they want to do. So what EG has been doing right now is they've been giving Eternal Envy room to farm and make sure that he is on the top of the list, which I think he's the top of the net worth. Yeah, so he is 1,000 above Mirana, and that's really, really good. And also he has a Mask of Madness. So this makes him an insane damage dealer at this point in the game. With the plus 22 damage, the crazy teamfight ultimates, and a Mask of Madness, he can deal so much damage to everybody on Alliance that the Silencer and Disruptor don't stand a chance to stay alive if they're in the middle of a teamfight. So by doing this, just having this kind of teamfight lineup where they're able to do a 4 Protect 1 in the meantime with using Eternal Envy whenever he's needed, means that they have amazing teamfight support. Zai's Blink Dagger is going to be huge just for his successes, and as you can see right there, they were able to pick out Mirana before she could, well, she even leaped, but Darkseer vacuumed at the same time she leaped, so it totally stopped it. They're able to just get a kill and maintain control of the game, and did not even give up the tower. So, like, there's not much tower pushing that Alliance can do, and what little tower pushing they have, they can get initiated on with big teamfight heroes. So at this point in the game, one thing I want to point out is, well, we'll go ahead and check out S4 right here. So he's in a really bad spot. Was going to die, but this again just shows how good the counter initiation of Silencer plus Disruptor is. they were able to just completely shut down the entire thing. There was just nothing that they could do to kill the Storm Spirit. Instead of the Storm Spirit dying, Sand King dies, Arteezy almost dies, but Universe is able to get him out. But at the same time, they're going to be able to pressure this tier 1 tower. Since Sand King is dead, Sand King has no ult, and Arteezy has to go back and heal. So they're going to be able to get this tower and get a kill for the cost of a couple of ultimates. And yeah, as you can see right here, actually right here, the wand was able to keep Shadow Demon alive for the meantime, and it bought enough time for Zai to respawn, TP in, blink in, and get a kill on the Bat Rider. So nice job by PPD to keep his wand all the way up to 15 charges before he used it. But that arrows are good. Yeah, but that Zai is doing a fantastic job on this Sand King right now. He's able to just keep his team alive and everything like that. Yep, I said that. Anywho, EG actually turns that around and gets a tower. So they were able to defend this tower, which is surprising by me. But they were able to defend that tower, and they were able to get the kill on, on the Bat Rider, and Storm Spirit was down as well. So they were able to just take control there. So now Zai and PPD are getting farm in the enemy jungle because they were down here and it's safe for them to farm in this jungle. As a support, you should still be looking for farm, and they are looking for farm right here. It's just no matter what hero you play, you should be looking for farm if you can't do anything else. Like, farm should always be a priority on your list. Now you should prioritize farm based on who you are, but yeah. Speaking of farm, I want to point out items that people have. So, Silencer has pretty much a 4-staff, or close to a 4-staff, He's not terribly far away from the 4-staff. And then we have... So we have Arteezy has 60 last hits. He doesn't have very many last hits at all. If we look, Bat Rider has 63, and Silencer has 30. So Silencer as a support has half as many as Arteezy. He hasn't been getting last hits, and that's a huge deal for an Ember Spirit. He's not getting last hits, so he's not getting the farm. And usually, an Ember Spirit should be definitely second at worst case scenario on your team as far as last hits. And just Sand King has more last hits, to give you an idea. Darkseer has more last hits, or Sand King has about the same. And then Eternal Envy has double the last hits. So Arteezy is not looking too well off. We have 4 staffs for, Bat Rider just picked up his 4-staff. Silencer will pick up a 4-staff fairly soon. He's working toward it. He'll get a 4-staff fairly soon. We're looking at an Orchid on Storm Spirit. He's got the Orchid. Pretty sure. I don't know. He'll be getting an Orchid here fairly soon. He's pretty close to it. So he's getting the Orchid soon. And then on the side of EG, we have the Blink and Mechanism for Darkseer, so he can get into position. We have Blink and Mana Boots on Sand King. And that's pretty much how this game is going right now. And then we have Luna, who's farmed, and she almost has BKB. And once she gets BKB, she'll be able to push anywhere, and they'll be taking advantage of that, taking out Roche, taking out towers, that kind of thing. They're just waiting for that BKB in order to get that going. So this mid tower, Alliance really wants it down, but it's dangerous. Yeah, it's just dangerous to be able to try and push that tower down. So Alliance was able to take down this tower, which is big because those items like the 4-staff that I was talking about for Storm Spirit is almost there, and then the 4-staff for Silencer is just 200 or 300 gold away. So yeah, you see Universe is able to just pop ion shells and just farm and get away. EG is defending this tier 2 tower because they have the Storm Spirit and the Batrider up here. So they're 2 ganking heroes up here. They're going to try to look for an opening for a hero and pick it off. Like Arteezy right here, they're going to try and pick him off. But they see everybody else comes in, and Loda has amazing reflexes to just protect both of these heroes. So Batrider and Storm Spirit were able to get it back. And also all of EG is up here. So since all of EG is up here, we have in the mid lane, we have pressure on the mid lane, and then bottom lane is not really pressured, but Loda is able to get farm. Like, he is able to farm anywhere. He has a Maelstrom now, so he's able to do damage. Luna gets the BKB, and immediately they smoke up, and they're going to go into the Rosh Pit. So this is a really good timing by EG in general. They have wards up now, so they can see if there's any vision, but they're going to take down this Roshan. They have Eternal Envy has a BKB now, so he is incredibly farmed, and he's also level 14, which is big because that means he has 4 points in Lunar Blessing and 4 points in Moonglaive for 5 bounces and 38 extra hero damage for all of the heroes, which is pretty big. You know, it's like, it's a lot of damage. So now they have all of this, and they're going to just try to pressure this tier 2 down bottom. So they're going to work on getting that tier 2 down bottom, and Alliance just has to defend. So Alliance has essentially lost all semblance of map control. The only way they have map control is the fact that they can split push with Mirana, and they can use Storm and Batrider to pick off ganks and hopefully have global presence from EGM's ultimate in order to get that going and get the kills. But right here, I want to talk about this just a little bit. So they're immediately going to go and they're going to push this tower, but Alliance is getting ready to counter initiate. I mean, Firefly has even been popped already just to look for them. But I'm going to slow this down because this is going to be a lot of things going on at the same time, and I want to just show everything that's happening. So they're going to pressure this tower. They use Shadow Demon to create 2 illusions to use a lot of damage, but this also goes to show the right time to use a Fortify. So you should only use a Fortify if you want to contest a tower. Contest a tower, you need to delay a push because you have a push going yourself, or you can save a tower. Those are the only times you want to pop your glyph, especially for towers. I mean, like, you want to definitely save them for Raxes more than towers, but you want to make sure that you have a plan in mind when you glyph. You don't want to glyph just to delay a push by 5 seconds because you want to say, I know I want to save this tower. Yes, everybody wants to save their towers, but sometimes you have to realize is, if my team gets there in 5 seconds, will we be able to team fight, probably win, and get an advantage? If the answer is no, then no reason to pop your glyph. Just give up the tower and try to go somewhere else. Alliance waits until the last second to pop their glyph, and going back into the game, we can see that EG is very committed to this fight. Eternal Envy is way up here. Arteezy is up here, and he has no remnants anywhere, so he's just way in the middle of the fight. PPD is even up here, and he has no defense whatsoever. Universe is the only one that's really back, and Zai is just waiting to use his ultimate. So, good positioning by Zai, but EG is committed. Alliance knows this. They pop the glyph and get ready for the counter initiation. And like I said, that's what Alliance's team really strives on, is the counter initiation, at least from their supports. So S4 jumps in, tries to stop Zai, and because without the Sand King, they don't really have hardly any team fight. And they do grab Eternal Envy. This was an amazing positioning by Universe. He was able to blink in and vacuum 3 of the heroes into his ultimate and just do, and I mean, that's why everybody is at like half hit points or less, is because of Universe's ultimate and his awesome vacuum. So Arteezy is just going crazy here. He tries to go and he really wants this kill on S4, but he goes too far, he dies, and then this pulls Eternal Envy and Universe in. They do get the kill on S4, but they are right, you know, here when they should be back farther. Universe tries to get away, but the arrow and the vortex are there to stop him. So he ends up dying too. PPD tries to save Universe, and he ends up taking a hit too, and he's going to go down. Zai is also going to take a dive because he was trying to hide, and there goes PPD. So Eternal Envy was the only one who stayed alive. Arteezy even bought back, and this just goes to show what an over-aggressive play can do for you. So Arteezy died. He brought Universe and PPD and Zai and Eternal Envy into the enemy base because of that. And he's also showing Alliance that Eternal Envy is farming the Ancient stack. So, not a good trade-off at all for EG. And, I mean, everybody has their ups and everybody has their downs. And I don't like to, you know, make fun of individual heroes or individual players, but sometimes plays do go bad and you need to analyze why they went bad. In that case, Arteezy went too far. He was looking for a kill, and it ended up costing 3 kills and a buyback. And he also gets jumped right here too, just being out there. So, like, Arteezy's not having the best of games. S4's initiation is able to hop on PPD, and he's going to die. So Eternal Envy with this Mask of Madness has almost hasted move speed, and he's able to catch up to anything, pretty much. So Eternal Envy is doing fantastic still this game. He did not even die in that fight when the rest of his team died. He still has the Aegis, actually. So yeah. Eternal Envy is still doing great. He's going to go back and farm. This is one thing Eternal Envy is really good about, is he always has a ticker in the back of his head that says, alright, where can I farm the most? Where can I farm the most? Where can I farm the most? And the only way to stop that, it was when his team needs him. So he does a really good job of just always looking for farm. Like 100% of his time is just thinking about how he can get the farm. And he's just able to get the farm. I mean, his GPM is just through the roof right now. I don't even know what it is. GPM, where is that? I don't even know. There we go, 587. So it's doing well for himself. He's getting a lot of last hits. But right here, we see that EG is not really afraid of much. They're going to go in, especially when they know that, if they know the ultimates are on cooldown, which no ultimates are on cooldown right now. If the ultimates are on cooldown, EG can do whatever they want. One of the disadvantages to having such big supports is that they are very cooldown dependent, and you have to abuse every time their cooldowns are not, or their spells are not available. 130 seconds for Silencer's ultimate, for example. And then Disruptor's ultimate is 85 seconds, so not as bad, but they have some really high cooldown ultimates. And Sand Kings actually gets better as time goes on. So they smoke. EG smokes. They're looking for more kills. They are going to just do the 4 protect 1. So 4 of them go this way. Try to look for a hero down here. And then in the meantime, Eternal Envy just is going. He's looking for farm essentially somewhere. They were able to clear up. Batrider had Illusion Rune, so he was able to get out of there. And Eternal Envy, like I said, he's always looking for farm, and that's what makes him so good as a carry. Is that he's mathematically thinks what movement he can do to get the most farm. See, even right there, he was like, can I go to this medium camp and get farm, or can I go, you know, up here and get this camp or the Admiral Bulldog for farm? This also, so another thing is, I'm going to talk about S4. He's right up here. So S4 is right up here looking for a kill. Admiral Bulldog's with him to try and get a kill. But EG is everywhere. So EG is right over here. They're right over here. They're right up here. EG has them surrounded. So, and they don't know this, but Zai has an amazing stun right there, right before the silence on both of the heroes, and is able to just pull out Silencer's ultimate and get a kill on Admiral Bulldog. And that's a huge win for EG. I would say even the Silencer ultimate pullout is as important as the Batrider dying, because this ultimate right now is down for 110 seconds. They have 2 minutes where they can do whatever they want. Probably put some pressure on this tower right here, maybe even put some pressure on this tower, but without the Silencer ultimate, they have a nice potential right here. And they still have Sand King's ultimate too, so they can put pressure wherever they want and do it safely. Cloud9's Eternal Envy does pop his BKB to stop being glimpsed, because he could not, like, he would have died if he didn't pop his BKB. The BKB stops the glimpse, and Loda would have just arrowed him immediately because he was down there. But yeah, so Eternal Envy goes back to farming. His supports luckily stack for him. The Mask of Madness, like I said before, is just, it's used for farming. It gives him move speed, it gives him attack speed, but it's also really good in team fights if he's not getting focused down. It turns him into a glass cannon, but at the same time, he hasn't been in too many team fights, and he has a front line. He has the Sand King, he has the Darkseer, he has, you know, the Ember Spirit even, are more of a front line than he has been as of late. Oh, another thing I want to point out is PPD's wards are awesome. This ward right here, and this ward right here. And this is because this tower is here, this tower is here, but this tower is gone. So the bottom tier 2 tower is gone, which EG knows that they're going, any pressure that they're going to put is on the top 2 lanes. They're not too worried from the push from Alliance down bottom. They can get there in time. That's not too important. What they want to do is they want to make sure they're not caught off guard by a Mirana ult or a smoke, or, you know, a storm into Batrider gank or anything like that. So they have vision of this entire area and this entire area. So they're able to just keep their vision on both of the sides right there, and just, yeah, basically keep safe from that. They know where, PPD knows where the action is going to be, so he places wards that are going to secure them more farm than the enemy team. And that lets Eternal Envy farm, that lets RTZ, you know, catch up as best he can. He's been just dying, but immediately that ward pays off. So that ward, S4 is farming the jungle. He goes and he's looking for a gank or something, but this ward just kills him, like straight up. So that ward has already paid for itself like 5 times over. Not kidding. That ward just paid for itself 5 times over just immediately. And then Zai is farming right here. Yeah, so Zai is getting some good farm in as well. He almost has a BKB. And that brings me up to another thing I want to talk about. So BKBs during this game. We have Sand King getting a BKB. We have Luna, who has a BKB and has already used it a couple times. We have Arteezy, who's working towards a BKB, pretty much. He has drums and he's starting to work towards a BKB. Almost has enough for a Mithril Hammer. So he's trying to work towards a BKB. And at the same time, let's see, Darkseer, it has a BKB. So we have 4 BKBs, and we have Shadow Demon, who will not get a BKB this game unless he like goes on a mega monster kill streak. He will not get a BKB and does not need a BKB like the other heroes do. So we have 4 BKB carries, but at the same time, one thing that, since this hero isn't played much, one thing I want to note is that the Silencer is, for a support, amazingly powerful against BKBs. So the way that Silencer's ultimate works is that if you cast Silence, it will silence whether or not they have BKB on, but the BKB will dispel if it's already on. So ideally, you want to wait until BKBs have been popped, and then Silencer can ult. And that's really, really crucial against heroes like the Sand King and heroes like the Ember Spirit. Because once the team fight starts, if Sand King pops his BKB to make sure his ultimate is not interrupted, then Silencer just ultimates immediately, and Sand King is worthless. Like, he is a right-clicking hero. All of the heroes are just right-clicking heroes at that point, but Luna is a really good right-clicker, so it's not as big of a deal for her. It just completely shuts down the Darkseer. He can't do anything. Like, Darkseer is one of the worst heroes when it comes to just right-click, because his attack animation is awful, and he's melee. So, Darkseer, pretty much worthless. Sand King, similar deal. He has Caustic Finale, though, so more or less worthless. Ember Spirit, pretty worthless. And Shadow Demon is obviously not a factor at that point when he gets ultimated, because he can't safely disrupt his allies, and he can't purge anybody. And he can't even stack poison. So, like, the 4 heroes from the side of EG, when they get their BKBs, that will just make EGM be very patient about using his ultimate. And once BKBs are popped, he will pop his ultimate. Particularly the Sand King one, because the Sand King has the most crucial teamfight spell in this game right now with the Epicenter. And if EGM can shut that down, he can shut down pretty much the entire hero with one of his abilities. Kind of like how Doom is always picked for his single target, single hero shutdown. Silencer does that for less time, but to a lot of heroes. And that's really crucial. Yeah, so now we can see that they're able to de-ward mid. So not only are they able to ward, but PPD got a sentry ward up here, and they're able to kill the observer ward from Alliance, and now they have no vision whatsoever. So without the vision, they can't do much at all. They have to play defensively because of the nature of Batrider and Storm Spirit. They have to group up as at least 4. Eternal Envy is taking, a calculated risk here by farming the Ancients, but on the same side, he still has Arteezy here, who is just scouting for Roshan. They're looking to do the Rosh. Mirana ulted right here. These 4 heroes all got seen by this Observer Ward. So EG's just going to know to back up. They're going to go into their base, and Mirana's ultimate is just completely wasted. This ward is saving them once again. I can't emphasize how crucial it is to have good ward position, and PPD has been doing like a fantastic, spectacular job of it, both warding and de-warding against Alliance. And this is really setting the momentum for this portion of the game, is just the vision on the map, because they have this, so their jungle is safe. Batrider and Storm have been coming up through there. And then they have this, so that they can see if somebody comes up through here, and if somebody comes up through here. So they have their jungle is completely safe from any form of ganks whatsoever. This right here, like I said before, Arteezy is just kind of on tilt this game. Kind of just like, he's going way, way far, and his entire team could not catch up. So they were able to get a kill on Disruptor, but at the same time, Arteezy takes a hit, and the rest of his team is just, making up for it and trying to do what they can. One thing right here is that Eternal Envy, he knows when to back up. Like, Eternal Envy does a really smart thing right here. He knows when to back up. EG as a team has been known to be aggressive, like very aggressive, and always shoot for the stars when it comes to getting hero kills, getting tower kills, winning the game. They really want it, and they don't control that energy to want to win the game, and it often leaves you tunnel visioned and on just a specific goal, like, I want to kill Storm Spirit right here, but he's obviously invisible with 200 hit points. You know, these two heroes are pretty low on health. If I could just wait 4 seconds, get a burrow strike right here, then they would both die. And then we would get this tower, maybe get this tower too, and then, you know, secure a Roshan kill, because Rosh is up again. Eternal MV is like, hey, guys, look, I know you guys want to go in, but I'm just going to play it safe right here and make sure that I don't die. Like, he wants to run back right now, but his team is just way up there. Zai is almost dead because he wanted to get that burrow strike off, like I was talking about. And then PPD is almost dead as well. Darkseer did actually die down here for that same reason. Just they wanted to go, and whenever you dive past a tower, you have to think, am I really stronger than my opponent? And if you can't objectively answer that, we're all, right now in our current state, stronger than our opponent because, well, they did not have RTZ, and Alliance had pretty much all of their firepower there. So, Eternal Envy did a nice job of backing up, and he's obviously, as usual, back to farming. He's looking for, you know, he's just getting this lane farm. He's, as any good carry is, he finds every spare second to farm, and that's his drive, is to get that farm every single second. This ward by PPD, nice timing on it because Roshan should be up soon, and they know this, so they're going to just go for the Roshan. Like, they're going to fight for Roshan. Right here, Admiral Bulldog and S4 are up at the top, so without them, Alliance cannot contest the fight. They can't contest the fight, and I believe Silence is still on cooldown. Yeah, since Silencer's ultimate is still on cooldown, they can take this, and they have Epicenter. So they can take this fight. They have their BKBs, and they have all of their spells. So they get this Roshan for pretty much free. I mean, like, they get some farm for S4, but very smart idea by EG to go and take that Roshan fight. So, also, Batrider got Boots of Travel, which is really good for Batrider. Batrider, all you want is move speed and mobility, because you essentially just run in, grab somebody, and run out as quickly as possible. And the Boots of Travel help with that, and also help secure kills. So, Storm Spirit, as a hero, is able to teleport while he's using his ultimate. So he teleports out. That was, you know, Loda got his ultimate off. And yeah, Loda got the ultimate off. Wasn't really needed. And it, Eternal Envy, as well as the rest of EG, is able to just pressure towers now. Even the amount of illusions, since Luna did get a mana style, the amount of illusions that they have now are just incredible, just in general. Maybe we'll see this right here, but PPD can use Disruption on an illusion as well, and towers just melt just from illusions. This is similar to how Naga Siren does this, but Luna with the Glaive Bounce is a lot stronger at killing bases than Naga Siren is, just inherently. Naga just gets the illusions naturally, and that helps her out. So all of this farm that Loda has been getting in the past lets him get the MKB. The delayed Midas, like I said, delayed. By delayed, I mean 10-minute, 11-minute Midas, is able to get him, you know, the Monkey King bar and the Mjolnir, which the Mjolnir actually has a nice animation on it that I'd never noticed before. I think that's new. Cool. Sweet. So he's able to get a lot of farm, and with the MKB, he's able to do a lot of damage and cut through Luna's butterfly. So, very powerful pickup, very good timing for this pickup. And that also means that EG, even though they have the Aegis, have to watch out for this fight. They have to time everything just right. The amount of counter initiation that they have is just incredible. So, here we're going to go into it. I'm actually going to slow down for this fight. I'm going to walk you through what goes on during this fight, because there's a lot that goes on during this fight. So we see Universe comes in, as well as Zai. These two team up so well together. They just lay everything down. the Disruptor is able to counter-initiate. Mech can still be cast in there. And EGM is able to barely get his ult off. Right there. As he's dying. So, he got his ult off while Zai and Universe pop their BKBs. So Zai cannot stun, he cannot ult, nothing. And then Loda's farm is really starting to show right here because he was able to just jump in and get a kill on RTZ. Zai did not get to use his epicenter, got hooked off by Admiral Bulldog, and it is not in a good spot. He's just getting drilled by this crazy amount of damage from Loda, like 248 damage from a single right click, and even got silenced by the Storm Spirit in order to stop that. So, like I said, Loda is just able to go crazy and just get all of these kills. So Eternal Envy casts his ultimate right when Admiral Bulldog's there. Amazing timing on that Moonlight Shadow, so that most of Luna's ultimate goes to waste. Most of it is gone. So Eternal Envy has no choice but to back up just a little. PPD is the farthest most ahead in front right now, which is not good for him. He's going to get knocked back and, you know, most likely die here if Admiral Bulldog wants to. But smart play by PPD to run over to the left, because that cuts out this area from. It makes this area a choke point. So if Alliance wants to jump in, then they have Arteezy and Eternal Envy who can just nail everything in an area. Slide a fist into Searing Chains, and yeah. So that was basically the team fight. Nice job on the Force Staff by Admiral Bulldog to get out of there. Speed it up a little bit, but a lot of damage coming from S4 with his ultimate from the base. He's just going to be able to kill off the Arteezy. Once again, he's going to go down. There's not much he can do about it, but S4 may go down as well. No, S4 just jumps out in time. And he's dodging these right clicks. Well, he didn't dodge all of them, but Loda's insane amount of damage is just rolling through these players. Like, Eternal Envy just took this hit. Like, look at this. Loda, just every single hit is just like killing them. Disruptor is able to keep Universe around, which is really good, but Eternal Envy is taking a beating. Loda did end up dying because he doesn't have as much just defense against straight up damage. Eternal Envy is really super farmed, but he's just melting to the sticky napalm and the flame break. Firefly. Sorry. The Firefly plus flame break, but Admiral Bulldog is able to secure 1,000 gold, which is nice. 1,000 reliable gold is very nice at this point in the game. It lets him pick up an Ogre Club so that he can get a BKB and he won't get sucked into the vacuum Darkseer ult, as well as he can ignore Sand King. He still gets the 30% slow, but the Sand King's ultimate does not do damage to him. And that will really help him out in order to pick off a hero safely. He can pop his BKB before he blinks in and Force Staffs out. So, Admiral Bulldog is getting his BKB. And yeah, that's about all there is to it. Just the aftermath of the fight, people are respawning. Alliance couldn't take advantage of the fact that Eternal Envy died too much. They were not able to get any objectives, but they're able to do things like this and keep EG out of the jungle, like pretty much for the first time in the game. They haven't been able to put real pressure on EG at all during this game. There's nothing that they've been able to do to keep the pressure on. So they're just now starting to with those kind of kills. One thing I want to note right here is that Silencer has a refresher. So Silencer has a refresher, which is incredible because now he can use his ult, force the BKBs, and use his ultimate again to force silence BKB everything. So he can do that, and he also just, one of the best AoE ults in the game for the entire it's a global silence, is now 10 seconds long. Or, sorry, yeah, 10 seconds long. So he's able to have a 10-second long one. And right here, I want to point out that there was a smoke from EG. Forgot to mention that earlier, is that they actually smoked in here. But as soon as Eternal Envy attacks this creep right here, so Eternal Envy attacks this creep, and then as soon as he does, Alliance knows about this. So they plan for a counter gank. EG is going to try and, you know, put some pressure on maybe the mid-tier 2 or something like that, but they're going to counter gank, and because of Admiral Bulldog on the Batrider having a massive move speed, as well as S4 being anywhere on the map at any point in time, see, he just jumps in like halfway across the map. They're able to get a counter gank at the cost of this ward. So, like I talked about before, PPD with his wards, he's really, really good. He uses the failed smoke gank to lay this ward out. Now this ward is really good, very aggressive, but very good, and it will help them secure this tower in the near future. It just secures vision on the tower so that they're safe. And yeah, nice job by PPD to lay that ward, but he did get picked off because the smoke gank was revealed, and Alliance acted immediately on it. So, yes, awesome. Here, hold on one second. Let me actually bump up the bitrate again. See if I can get this going a little bit better, because it still looks laggy to me. Maximum bitrate. Let's see, go for that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, cool. Alright, we're back in. Hopefully it's a little better. Like I said, I keep playing with it to try and make it better. I'm going to have to play with this today for tomorrow's episode to make sure it's better on Twitch. But here we go. Once again, back into the game. So, it's the beginning of Alliance being able to go offensively as a team. The entire time they've been on the back foot because of the teamfight potential of EG, even with Arteezy being not farmed at all, having a half BKB, half Vanguard, drums, phase boots. At 40 minutes in, he's been very underfarmed, and this is the first time that, as a team, Alliance is able to make these kind of aggressive moves. They've been able to make the moves with the Storm Spirit and the Batrider together, but not with, you know, Mirana and the supports as well. The supports have not been able to be anywhere near any of these fights, but now they are able to. So, take that for what it is, but that means Alliance is now stabilizing. They did lose their top tier 3, which is a big deal, because these Raxes are now exposed, and with the illusions, Luna can take out the Rax in like 5 seconds. Like with the Mantis style, actually she just got double damage as well, but with the Mantis style and the disruption, she's able to get a lot of work done. You can see that they're actually waiting for the Roshan on the side of EG. Like, they're just waiting for Roche. That's what they have to do, because Eternal Envy right now is super important for the team. He's most of their physical DPS. Arteezy does not have much farm this game, so he's not much physical DPS, but if, you know, anybody has a BKB, for example, Batrider, the only damage they have is Eternal Envy's damage. So he needs to be able to stay alive. He needs to keep staying alive. Like I said, they're just waiting for the Roshan. They have to wait for it. You can see that they gave up this tower just to try and get this Roshan. Like, they didn't even, the Roshan isn't even up, and Admiral Bulldog checked it as well, but Roche is not up, but they still gave up a tower. And this is because of the change to 8 to 11 minutes for Roshan to spawn. You don't know exactly when he's respawning, so you kind of have to just wait here sometimes. And in the late game, it can get interesting that you have to wait so long just for Roche to respawn, but that's how the game is now. And as you can see, it's respawning in 30 seconds, but they don't know. So they're just they know they cannot push without the Roshan, and they're going to get the Aegis. Luna now has Mask of Madness and Satanic. Will sell the Mask of Madness for the Aegis, most likely, you know, if they do get the Roche. And see, Mirana was able to scout that Roshan just spawned. Loda actually uses ultimate to try and get in position for this. I'm surprised that S4 did not lay a Remnant right here to check on it, but that's okay. Alliance knows if they just team up right now, if they make sure that their supports stay alive and don't get picked off, that they'll be good. Zai's positioning right here is really, really good. So he's able to, even though he's invis, he's able to make sure that Admiral Bulldog, if he jumps in, will just be stunned. But instead, Aki was a little out of position, so he dies. Eternal Envy gets grabbed. Admiral Bulldog pops the BKB. And here comes a big team fight. So, ultimate by Silencer, that forces Zai to pop his BKB. Immediately he silences again after that. Does not want the Sand King doing anything this fight. But now nobody can do anything for this entire duration on the side of EG. Besides Eternal Envy. He can right click, but he's actually going to go down. So he dies during the time of these silences. And then if you look, Arteezy is going down too. Storm is going to be able to take out Arteezy. Zai is low on health as well. He's trying to get out. He dodges the right click. Universe waits to use his ultimate, which is, I mean, he had to because he was silenced the entire time. But they're trying to blow up these heroes right here. And they'll be able to as well because these illusions keep popping them like crazy. And they get multiple kills. Sand King ends up dying, dropping his gem. So there's a gem down here because EG picked up a gem earlier, and now they dropped their other gem. But as you can see, there are actually 3 buybacks. The Luna, Sand King, and Ember Spirit all bought back, which seems like a waste, but if we look, Alliance has no Disruptor, no Mirana, no Batrider. Disruptor will be back up soon, but whatever. And Silencer has no ultimate and no ultimate for, 2 minutes at least. So these are actually really good buybacks from EG because they're able to secure their Roshan. Now, granted, they used 3 buybacks, but they're able to completely secure Roshan. They still have Epicenter, and Silencer has no way to stop that. Disruptor has his ultimate still, so he still has something, but Zai has a BKB. And as long as they fight with, after 30 seconds, which they're doing Roche right now, so, they have some time, but they'll be able to fight. And everything is in EG's favor right now. Even though they did all of these buybacks, everything is in their favor. That was the 3rd Roche, so Aegis goes to Luna. Arteezy picks up the cheese. And yeah, that's about it. So we have the Luna picked up an illusion rune as well. Luna with illusion, Manta, and Disrupt will be able to just pressure down this tower, no problem. Even pressure down the base because Loda doesn't want to buy back, but he's just waiting. He's just waiting for it. So one thing I want to note here is we're actually going to slow down. There's going to be a team fight coming up because they're going to try and take this Rax. These creeps right here remove the backdoor protection. Luna bought back. Like I said, the disruption, Manta, illusions, everything are going to go crazy on this tower. Forces them to use the glyph. So they're just losing it, like straight up, just from illusions. Admiral Bulldog picks off PPD because that is their only real defense. So he picks off PPD. S4 comes in, he's also going to focus on him. But Zai gets a good stun on Aki. And he's able to channel his ultimate because Silencer's ultimate is on cooldown. So that right there lets Zai sit in the middle of this fight right now. S4 is in a lot of trouble, but he's able to get out pretty quickly. All of these glaives right here from Eternal Envy just melt everything. And Eternal Envy is a very objective-based player. He just says, hey, guys, let's get this Rax right here. Let's kill it as soon as we can, which is really good because Batrider and Disruptor are down. But the thing is, they're running out of time because once Silencer's ult is back, then Alliance will have a big advantage. There's the Fortify that I was talking about before. There's really not much else Eternal Envy has to do other than attack. So he attacks, he kills both of these Raxes. And then ideally they should just get out because they got the Rax, they got the kills. Eternal Envy still has the Aegis, so they want to pressure that. But Silencer has his ultimate now, and he will have his refresher soon. So he'll have double ultimates soon, and Disruptor will be back. But Eternal Envy takes this arrow, takes these hits, gets silenced, gets disarmed as well, and then dies. On top of that, S4 is able to get a kill on Sand King, so like this is not looking good for them at all. And Eternal Envy is able to get his ultimate off, but as you can see, he has last word on him, actually gets disabled for another 6 seconds, which is really huge. Like, he can't do anything. Look, he's just sitting here. He can't do anything at all the entire time. Just phenomenal work by EGM to position and to cast that spell. The Disrupt on Arteezy is not going to look good for him. He does have a Remnant back here, so he was able to stay alive. But EG does make it out. And just the Aegis was spent as well. I guess the cheese was spent as well. So one thing that Arteezy did a really good job of is that this is probably one of his best moves that he did this game, is that he's got this cheese right here, and Luna goes in. Let's see, let's go up. Luna goes in, she dies, and then immediately when she dies, watch this. Watch what happens. So we have EG, Universe, just, you know, Arteezy's like just trying to go in, get some kills, that kind of thing. Getting some attacks off. But he's able to just drop the cheese on Eternal Envy. Dang, I even missed it that time. Holy cow. So he's able to run. So he has the cheese right now. So he runs. He's just trying to get the cheese onto Eternal Envy. Or I guess he used that cheese himself. Never mind. He did use that cheese himself that time. So, never mind. My mistake. But he drops that Remnant before he teleports, which is really smart. And he's going back into the game. So, you know, getting away, safe and sound. And, yeah. So they're just going to go back. They're going to go and fight. As soon as everything's ready again. The Silencer did use his ultimate. So they've got another 80 seconds until that's ready. One thing about the Refresher Orb, since it's about the same time as the Global Silence, is it's usually good to use it immediately after you use your Global Silence. Most of the time it is. Unless you think a teamfight is going to happen within 130 seconds and not 160. Because there's that 30-second window. Generally, it's good to use your use your Refresher Orb as soon as you use your Global Silence. That way you always have a Global Silence available, and your Refresher Orb's cooldown is ticking down. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're using your Refresher Orb on big cooldowns. On smaller cooldowns, you want to keep it. If you have like an 80-second cooldown something, you probably don't want to do that because the Refresher Orb just gives you a huge advantage at times. I mean, like, you want to use it cautiously, but anyway, we're going to have to check this out. So we're just waiting around. There's not really much going on, but like this point in the game, so I'm sure everyone's been there, but this point in the game is like super tense. Just imagine like taking a can of your favorite drink. You just like grab the can and then you shake it up like this. And that's how this game feels right now. Like, this game feels like this. It feels like you're shaking up a carbonated drink, and at any time, it can just explode. Very, very volatile games around the end of Dota, which is why Puppy, actually in an interview last year, talked about how Na'Vi likes to win games early. It's because if you make a mistake early on, you can recoup from that mistake and you won't lose the game. But in the late game, if you make a mistake, you can easily cost the game. One carry, getting out of step and dying once, can throw the entire game, and you can lose because of that. Whereas if a carry dies early on in a game, they won't immediately lose, and you can make smart decisions, and you can come back from that. So that's why Na'Vi in general likes to have shorter games and not these longer games. So you can feel the tension and the pressure just like building up, and they're just waiting for like the big team fights. You know, they've got, especially with big ultimates, you know, Mirana Alton. Speaking of which, here we actually have a team fight going. I need to really slow this down because a lot happens during these late game team fights. So Mirana Alt, they actually don't see this one on the side of EG, and this just goes to show how powerful those wards were earlier. Just look at this positioning by Alliance. We've got Loda right here, Admiral Bulldog right here. EGM is tucked in this pocket right here, so he's safe, but he's able to cast every single spell. We have Ake over here, so he doesn't get focused, but he can still cast the spell since he is not, he doesn't have as many hit points as EGM, and he doesn't have a Force Staff. He doesn't have much of anything outside of a Magic Wand with 10 charges. So he's over here to get his Kinetic Field and his Static Storm off. Like, that's what he's here for. So they're going to go in, and then there's the BKBs flying everywhere, just everywhere BKBs. Already one silence has been cast, and then there goes the second silence. So right in the middle right here, Alliance has just like this pocket of damage because Aki can cast a Storm. Well, the Storm's up here. EGM's actually kind of in trouble, but Arteezy is not terribly farmed, and he actually has Last Word on him to be silenced and potentially disabled as well. But S4 is able to jump around willy-nilly because he has an important Hex as well as the BKB, and they're able to just go on to Eternal Envy and just do crazy amounts of damage. Aki is taking damage, probably going to just die here because he's relatively weak compared to everybody else in the game. But Eternal Envy is super low on health. PPD was able to save him, which is one of the advantages of having PPD around. Eternal Envy will actually end up dying thanks to the Disruptor plus the Bat Rider's damage. Silencer was actually able to get that last hit. But Silencer as a support right here, oh my gosh, just look at what he's doing. Like, he's able to get a double kill. Aki didn't die actually, he's still alive, but EGM has so much right click damage. Just watch how much this right click does. So 660 health, boom. So he takes like 220 damage after all of the resist and casts a curse on top of it. But this is incredible amount of damage, and he's a support too. Like, he's a support carrying a gem, refresher, urn, Force Staff, and he's able to just kill everything. Granted, he did really, really well this game and has 100 last hits, but he was able to farm the jungle and the lanes where no other hero wanted to farm, and from that he's able to get farm. And that brings me up to another thing about Alliance in general. Here, let me adjust the camera just a little bit. Alliance in general, the way they play is EGM. Well, this is how they play. One of their strategies is that they take Ake as the heavy support who buys all of the wards and all of everything he can afford, and just basically that's all he can afford all game. And then EGM, who plays a support role but gets farm. He does this with very specific heroes that are really good at that role. So he does this with maybe Naga Siren, Windrunner, Silencer now, who knew? Silencer, as well as other heroes who, if they get farmed, they are fantastic. Another example of this is Fnatic's No-Tail. We'll do this with Meepo. So Meepo has been growing as a, he's been growing a lot as a support character. And No Tail has been really like showing that off and just doing crazy things with that. So he's able to like show that off, do crazy things, and okay. Yeah, he's just sorry. My bandwidth is going crazy right now. It's stabilizing a little bit, but yeah, I'm just trying to push as much as I can on. Okay, that'll be a little better now, hopefully. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's good. All right, cool. We're back in the green. All right, so like I was talking about before, we have Silencer, Windrunner, and then No Tail's Meepo actually does the same thing. And what they do is they play the support role, but any farm that's left on the table, they go for that position, and it essentially becomes like a mid-late game semi-carry role. So generally this type of matchup will be, you'll have an offlane like a Clockwork or a Batrider, and a mid somebody like maybe a Magnus, or couple of heroes that don't get a ton of farm. It's also possible to run with a mid core, but usually somebody like a Puck or a Clockwork on the same team as EGM's semi-carry role. Because what happens is they switch it around. Puck will get the Blink Dagger, and then he will go farm. Or he'll go farm heroes. So he'll go roam and get hero kills, while EGM just takes that. Basically, he's taking the 2 position. For all intents and purposes, he takes the farm priority of a solo mid. So, Admiral Bulldog will play Clockwork, or S4 will play Puck, for examples. And then EGM will step in as the Wind Ranger, not Windrunner, sorry, Silencer, or one of these other heroes, or the Naga Siren, and just get this farm up. That's why you're able to see EGM have crazy support items. Like, he'll be able to have, like, on Windrunner, he'll be able to have a 30-minute Force Staff, Sheep, Mechanism, and you're just like, how does any support ever afford that? And that's because of the way that Alliance plays. Like, S4 is really good at making plays and taking heroes that don't necessarily need farm. Now, this game, Storm Spirit does need farm, but Batrider does not. All Batrider needs is a Blink Dagger, and then he does what the Clockwork and the Puck do, is that he goes and farms heroes. So EGM is able to secure this farm and just go crazy on a semi-carry support. And that's really the essence of one of Alliance's lineups. Like I said, EGM doesn't always do this. He doesn't do this every time, but this is one of Alliance's big strategies, is they go for these kind of lineups with one big core, one heavy ganker, and then one support that can be a semi-carry mid-game. It just widens their versatility and makes it a lot harder to play and pick and ban against Alliance. So EGM is able to fill this role, and it doesn't really happen on too many other supports. Like I said, Fnatic's No Tail will do it, but for the most part, you don't see supports like this Silencer take so much power into the mid and late game. And that just goes to a testament of how Alliance plays, just in general. I'm not saying it's the best way to play. There are definitely a lot of different ways to play, but that's one of Alliance's core strategies, is to get EGM farm. Like, they give him a lot of farm priority. Another one that they used to do, that I haven't seen quite as much recently, is when Admiral Bulldog will play Nature's Prophet, and the supports will be 2 very heavy supports, and they will stack the jungle and make sure that Nature's Prophet has the most farm of anybody on the map. So they have a really good idea on how to balance their farming heroes in order to keep a balanced amount of farm and prioritize their farm accordingly. Notice this game, like I said, they have Batrider and not Nature's Prophet. So yeah, that's one testament to how Alliance works. Let's go ahead and just slow down this team fight as well, just a little bit, so you guys can get these team fights are going crazy just because of all of the particle effects and all of the spells. So Mirana gets disrupted because she's out of position. Zai with a really good stun. Like, Zai's been on target with all of those. Arteezy just bursts all of his damage to try and take down whoever he can, and Loda ends up dying immediately here. So Loda's death is pretty huge right there. EGM is able to just dish out the damage along with Loda. So these two right clickers right here are able to secure them that team fight right there. Universe did buyback, so they cannot pressure this, but they do what some people like to call the Russian back tactic. That's what I've heard it referred to as, where you pretend like you're going back, and then once you're like a half a tower distance away, you will smoke or go invisible. In this case with Mirana's ult, they go invisible, and then you go back into the fight and just pick off people because they don't expect it. It's a risky tactic if they know what's going on, but usually teams don't do it. So Alliance just does this turnaround, and they're able to pick off Zai right here, like, just without a problem. Universe is able to get a pretty good ultimate off, and Eternal Envy is able to get one too, but the Hex on Eternal Envy just completely slows him down, and Alliance can't really engage too much anymore because, you know, they're all at half hit points or less. But this is a good opportunity for them since 3 of the EG heroes are dead for another 10 seconds or so. So they're trying to get these mid Raxes and then just get out. But Eternal Envy's going to be able to put pressure on them now. Amazing vacuum by Universe to just pull 3 of the heroes in. And Bulldog, you know, pulls Eternal Envy out. Eternal Envy ends up dying, but they end up going back in and going for Universe as well. So Universe ends up dying. So, like, there are deaths everywhere. And Alliance is trying to hold on to whatever they can to keep this pressure going. They were able to take down this Rax, but if they die here, it's really bad. They finally do back up, but they were able to squeeze more out of that than they really should have been able to squeeze. Just based off of, you know, what was going on during that. So they're able to get quite a bit going, but you know, they take some damage on their mid tower. Whatever, not that big of a deal. One thing about Batrider is that he has 4,000 gold. So what does Batrider need? More movement speed. What does he pick up here? More movement speed. Now, there are only 2 options for more movement speed, but the most common one is the Mask of Madness. Either you can pick up a Yule's or you can pick up a Mask of Madness. The Mask of Madness is the benefit of being 1,000 gold cheaper, but it deals more damage to you. So that's the differences between the two. Mask of Madness is also a percentage base, which is 30%, versus Yule's, which is just 40 straight move speed. So he's able to jump up to, you know, a good amount of move speed, and that's just letting him farm better and letting him pull heroes out as quickly as possible. So that's what he's going to focus on. Not too much else going on for the next couple minutes, honestly. We're going to speed up just a little bit. So EGM found an invis rune, and he's just scouting out the area. Cloud9 is all over this area right here. But Batrider teleports up top, and what they're going to do is just check to see if they can pressure up top, because mid-Rax is gone, and they were all down bottom. So EG smokes up. At this point, they already have the commitment to go check if they're mid, and if they're not mid, they're going to go Roche. The problem is, their creep wave, Alliance's creep wave, is all the way up here. All the way up here. 1 creep wave, and they will be in the enemy base. So EG goes for the Roshan, but at the same time, they're losing their Rax, and at this point, it's too late. They're too committed to killing Roche, and they have to finish the Roshan and then try to salvage their base, but they don't even have a glyph either. So they're just going to finish the Roshan and lose their Rax for it, which is never a good trade unless you can immediately win right after you get it. get the Aegis. If you need the Aegis that badly, it could be worth it, but 98% of the time, it's not going to be worth it to trade a Rax for a Roshan. And EG just committed to it. I mean, it was good they committed to it, otherwise they would have gotten no Roshan, and their Rax would have died anyway. So, their Rax died for free. And that, I mean, they got Roche, but it's not good. It's not good for EG to have that kind of trade. And they know this, so what they're going to do is they're going to take this Aegis on Eternal Envy, and the cheese probably on Arteezy again. Nope. I don't know where the cheese is at. Maybe Universe? Nope. Nope. No cheese? I don't know. I don't know where the cheese is at. Anyway. Nope, not on Courier. I don't know where the cheese is at. Oh, there it is. So it is on Arteezy. So Arteezy does have the cheese. It has a 40-second cooldown now. Oh yeah, because of... Yep. DK had some really long games with multiple cheeses, but the illusions are able to get cleared out quickly. One thing I want to talk about real quick. Mjolnir. So this item has not really seen much popularity in the pro scene, but it is a very good item against illusion heroes, and a very good pushing item, and a very cost-efficient item. It actually got buffed recently, so the static storm damage is a lot better. It does more lightning damage, and it has more units that it targets. It also gives more benefits when you upgrade it to a Mjolnir, other than just Maelstrom plus Hyperstun. So, it honestly, in my opinion, Mjolnir is going to see a rise in the pro scene because of just the amount, the types of games that people play. We already see that Alliance does it all the time. Like, I think a couple of weeks ago, Admiral Bulldog got one, and so did Loda in the same game, just because it's Maelstrom is incredibly cheap, and upgrading to Mjolnir is not that bad, and just the amount of attack speed and ability to clear creep waves and just cause, you know, residual damage everywhere is phenomenal. It's an extremely cost-efficient item with an amazing build-up compared to most other items. So, like, on heroes that, you know, can take advantage of that earlier on, it's really, really powerful. And let's see, what do we got going on here? Not really much. Again, they're trying to push with the Aegis, so they know they're trying to push. Disruptor is, or not Disruptor, but Shadow Demon is trying to disrupt in. Admiral Bulldog is looking for a pick-off, not able to find one. Arrows are always flying, and then, you know, PVD is not out of position. And as you can see, Eternal Envy actually stands right here to protect him. Everybody from the side of EG is protecting PPD right now. That's how important he is as a support, is that if they lose PPD, they lose essentially any one of their other heroes. Because his disruption is able to protect Arteezy, protect, you know, Eternal Envy, protect Universe, protect Zai. More so for Eternal Envy and Arteezy. Especially Arteezy, but essentially losing PPD will make them in the same state as if they lost one of those other heroes, and they won't be able to push. So, knowing that, they're putting in a lot of importance on keeping PPD alive, more so than you would ever think. Marana does get Boots of Travel, so she is officially 6-slotted, and yeah, there's not really, you know, too much that really, you know, can go on as far as the side of EG. These Boots of Travel are twofold awesome. So first off, he has a TP scroll, which, if we look at this, later on in games, TP scrolls are not terribly important. One thing that you always hear when you're playing Dota is always have a TP scroll. However, when your tier 2 towers are down, you really don't need a TP scroll unless you're planning on split pushing. Or you're planning on being outside of the base and can't get back home safely. You don't always need that TP scroll late game. Because if you're not going to leave the base, why do you need to TP? I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You don't need to leave the base. You don't need a TP scroll to get back to the base that you're already at. So, it's one thing about the late game is that you don't see too many TP scrolls because other items are more important, and the gold is more important. Believe it or not, gold for TPs is not the most important thing late game. So if we look, the only people who have TP scrolls right now are Boots of Travel from Loda and S4's TP scroll. That's it. On either team, there are only 2 TP scrolls at all. Like, you just don't need them anywhere else. And why do those 2 heroes have it? Because they can split push. So S4 can be pretty much anywhere on the map, and he's actually going really aggressive right now. So he's just going to clear out these creep waves, and if they need him back at base, he can get back to base. And we also look, Loda is all the way down here. But other than that, the team is together. Like, these 3 heroes are together. So the only 2 heroes that are out of the way, I guess Bat Rider is a bit out of the way now, but he also has Boots of Travel. I forgot to mention that. He has Boots of Travel too. So the only heroes that are out of position are the ones that can teleport anywhere on the map. For example, up top when the entire team has been pulled bottom. So that's the reasoning behind having Boots of Travel and teleportation later on in the game. Now Aki does not have it. He's just making sure he has enough for buyback, and at the same time hoping for an item like, you know, a Ghost Scepter, or he really wants the Aghanim Scepter, but it's probably not going to happen this game given that it's already 60 minutes in. The Aghanim Scepter would shut down the BKB usage. It shuts down all item usage within the area. So essentially, everybody is doomed when they're inside of Static Storm. And it also does 1,500 damage at level 3. It's really a lot of damage if you have a Scepter as well. Yeah, so this just poking at them, like between PPD and Eternal Envy, they're able to just throw their illusions there and get the kills. But one thing to note is that this Aegis is going to expire soon. Like, it's going to expire very soon. So EG is going to want to force a fight here. Arteezy has the cheese, Eternal Envy has the Aegis. They're going to force a fight as soon as they can. 30 seconds left on the Aegis. So what they're going to do is use this Aegis up as best that they can. You see, Eternal Envy will just run in and essentially die. Like, at the 60-minute mark, the Aegis is going to be gone. So he just runs in just to die. I'm not kidding. Like, that's his goal right now, is to die. But he's not really dying. He's trying to die. He's not popping anything at all. He's just trying to... He even sits still to try and die. Actually, he popped the Satanic. Huh. Didn't expect that. But, yeah, he died with like 10 seconds left to go. So, Arteezy, this is... Hold on. I want to point this out. So, Arteezy buys back. And this is actually Arteezy's best buyback of this game. So, Eternal Envy dies. Arteezy bought back. Universe is like, oh my gosh, we gotta get this cheese on top of our carry. They actually use Burst of Speed to drop the cheese on Eternal Envy before he gets glimpsed out of the fight. So, Eternal Envy now has the cheese. And that's huge. EGM popped his refresher to be able to use his ult again, which is also very important for Alliance. Like, even though Storm went down, he has buyback, so it doesn't matter that much for this team fight that he went down. Eternal Envy's cheese right there just completely turned that fight upside down. So Envy has super low hit points, probably gonna go down. Yeah, so he does go down. Everybody just dying. Everyone's dying. Zai's trying to get out or something, but Loda also has a Satanic too, so he's able to. He has crazy sustain as well, which is what they need. So, and they're able to get that kill. Loda gets an ultra kill. One thing I want to note about the Satanics this game is that the reason why both Luna and Loda got Satanics, they usually don't. Most games you don't see, especially a Mirana with a Satanic. The reason why is because these fights go on for quite some time. There's a lot of damage, a lot of BKBs, and a lot of big global ultimates on the side of Alliance. Well, Alliance has Disruptor's ult and Silencer's ult, and then there's Sand King's ult as well, and Darkseer's ult. So, and Eclipse, count Eclipse. 5 really big team fight ultimates this game. And both teams know if they can sustain outside of those big team ultimates, they can win the team fights. The Satanic helps that because your health goes all the way down and then all the way back up. So you get another 10 seconds of like team fight ability. Since neither team has that much disable, you're allowed to do that, or you can pop BKB and then use your Satanic, and since they both have BKBs and Satanics. But the point behind it is the Satanics are really potent this game and really good this game because of that fact that both teams just want to out-sustain the other team. Like, that is all they want. So, yeah, that was the team fight. You know, they're losing towers. Alliance is losing towers because they can't hold off those illusions very well. But they're keeping alive, and if they can make a good play here, since they already have 2 of the Raxes down, one mistake from either team is a victory for the other team. Like, flat out. Because of how late this game is, it's just like, you can just lose immediately here. So, and most of the buybacks are on cooldown, you know. Eternal Envy has just a plate mail, that's it, for that last slot, just to get something to, you know, because this game is so close to over on both sides. Like, you can just feel the game is almost over. Like, all of the buybacks are on cooldown, and if anybody goes aggressive, the game will just end. And EG is going aggressive right now. They want to take out this barracks. And even without any committal, they should be able to take it out, but the Mjolnir does a lot of work there. It was actually able to clean up illusions quickly, which is cool because even against illusion-based heroes, you can get the Mjolnir, and you can stop illusion-based heroes without necessarily a hero. But, Moonlight Shadow was cast by Loda, but at the same time, EG is looking for Roche. If anyone right now was to secure a Roshan, they would win the game. Pretty much. They would have a very hard time for the other team. Aegis and Cheese at this point in the game are super important. Like, crazy important. And, yeah, so basically, Arteezy just always keeps a remnant there whenever he can in order to secure it. So, yeah, we've got Alliance actually, like, Loda's, like, inside of the base. Disruptor does get an awesome disruption off on Loda, but Loda just holds on to the lead, makes sure that he only uses it when he needs it. And they were not EG was not able to engage on that. Not yet. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bait out these spells, but it's almost impossible given their spell set. Like, if you pop a BKB and come running at somebody, you're going to want to silence. Unless you do that. So, this is such good teamwork by Universe. Just don't mind these BKBs. Those were popped beforehand, but the graphical glitch on the side of Dota 2 just makes it like that. So what we have is Universe just comes in, vacuums these 3 heroes, tries to get 4 but doesn't, and then immediately Zai stuns them all and starts to channel his ultimate. He started to channel it before, so he's just, everybody's in here, everybody has BKBs, but just the combination between Universe and Zai just cleans up. Silencer ends up dying because he was in the middle of that. Loda dies and buys back, so if Loda dies again, the game is over. If Luna dies in the next minute, the game is over. Like, it's very, very, very high tension. Silencer cannot buy back. In fact, his buyback's even on cooldown. And now it's a Silencer dead with one of his ultimates down. He did not use the refresher orb before he died either. So, not really a big deal. But as we can see right now, EG is able to just put as much pressure as they want. The Satanic keeps Loda alive for the time being, but Universe actually went down there, which is pretty big, and PPD is able to stay alive, barely. S4 is doing whatever he can. He's just really low on health and mana. He's able to pop a Hex in, but that's about it. If he can get that arrow on Eternal Envy, which he does, it really slows them down. But as you can see, Disruptor's dead now for 80 seconds. Loda tries to go for the kill because he knows if Eternal Envy dies here, they pretty much win this game, like, without question. But Eternal Envy does not die. Like, he does not die. He still had a minute and a half on his buyback, so it would have been 90 seconds without any Eternal Envy. He just pops the Satanic, heals back up to full. And now is a bad time for Alliance. They only have Storm Spirit alive, 50 seconds until anybody comes alive, and Eternal Envy's alive with Sand King. So Eternal Envy can just knock down a barracks by himself. Like, he's just going to be able to run up mid, take down mid. It doesn't matter if Storm comes in. In fact, if Storm jumps in, Storm is going to die. See, he has to give up those towers. But their goal is to stop this. So you get buybacks. Well, did you have any buybacks? No. Disruptor and Silencer were able to come back in time. Batrider will be back very soon, so he can't even buy back. Eternal Envy pops the 7-second BKB just to get a barracks down. Like, that's his only goal. EGM's actually taking a lot of damage too, but Aki is taking hits. He's gonna die. Sand King's ultimate is just going to slow people down. It's actually going to do some damage to Storm Spirit, but this Hex into this right here means that Eternal Envy won't be able to do anything because the ultimate was also blown right there. So now Eternal Envy cannot attack, and that's huge. Like, he cannot attack, and he's wrapped into the ultimate. So that was really, really clutch play by EGM right there to keep the multiple silences into the disable and then Admiral Bulldog to jump in and just lasso on top of that. So it was really powerful, and taking so much damage by Arteezy because he's under a Ghost Scepter, under the the sticky napalm, and under the Firefly. So he's taking so much damage. S4 jumps in and just secures the kill. EGM has 52 intelligence stolen from the enemy team, so he actually has more mana than life, which does not happen very often. Picks up another gem, but yeah, that was a phenomenal job by Alliance to hold on. They do have mega creeps against them though, which is really bad. Luna buys the Eye of Skady because, you know, I still have enough for buyback, so I can buy back. I can Skady. This is the last shot for either team right here. So, and they both know this. Pull out all the stops, go for it. They're just trying to. Eternal Envy's just waiting as long as he can for the buyback, so he buys back. Sand King does have buyback, so he buys back as well. Ember Spirit, poor Ember Spirit, does not. Poor Ember Spirit. So they're just going for the throne right here because they already have mega creeps against them. But right here is like the big fight. There's a silence on all of EG right now. Eternal Envy's still able to do crazy damage to everybody around, but he also gets lassoed while under BKB, and his BKB is down to 6 seconds now, so it's not that strong of a BKB. Zai is going to go down, and he did not get his ultimate off. So that silence is just destroying Sand King through and through. Eternal Envy gets silenced right here with the Orchid, which is mainly used for the plus 20% damage. As you'll be able to see at the end of this, he'll just take a lot of damage. It'll probably end up killing him too. Oh, yeah, it did end up killing him, but he ended up taking a lot of damage. I guess Admiral Bulldog got the last hit. But there we go. So Mirana just got killed, and Mirana's out for 2 minutes. So Alliance did not they're all very weak right now, but they still have to keep this pressure up because they know this is like the last stand. Now that they're trying to get out because they can't win this fight. Arteezy's jumping in. He does actually get a Searing Chains on 2 of them. PPD is able to slow down the Batrider as well, and they're just trying to get whatever kills they can. EGM dies from the Shadow Poison, and now there's really no buybacks. Yeah. So, and also their Ancient is dying, and there's nobody here to protect it. Admiral Bulldog's doing whatever he can, which unfortunately is not much. I mean, he doesn't even have Firefly. He does have a Flame Break, but he's taking so much damage from creeps that he's just going to die. Like, there's nothing they can do. Super good game, super close game, and there's the end. So, yeah. Just take a little bit to check out the game. Here's the match ID. 616-486-143. Part of Starladder 9 if you guys want to watch it. Also cast by Join Dota, cast this game. So feel free to check it out at any of those places. Yeah. And I want to do a little post-game analysis about that game. So some things to take note from that game and some things that I think will actually affect the metagame a little bit. I think the metagame will be affected just from this one game alone. And it won't be affected a lot, but we'll start seeing some more trends. We'll start seeing more Maelstroms and Mjolnirs from teams, first and foremost. Because honestly, that kept Alliance into the game, even though they didn't pick a lineup to clean up illusions. So anytime a team doesn't have enough to clean up illusions, they will get Maelstroms and Mjolnirs to attack a lot of units at once. I mean, it sounds obvious that it makes sense, but this game showed how much value you can get in that single item. It has an amazing amount of value, and it kept them alive and kept the counter push going. So as far as counter push goes, it's actually the most effective counter pushing item you can buy. I mean, Shiva's is good, but Mjolnir will just keep it going. That's the thing, is that like you'll keep on having that lightning damage, and you have the static storm. So you'll see more Mjolnir after this game. And honestly, another thing that I think you'll really start seeing is you'll start seeing more silencer pickups. Teams won't really know how to run it right at first. Most teams won't. Alliance obviously does, and I think Empire will have a good idea on how to run it as well. But I really think the way that EGM plays fits into Silencer perfectly. And Silencer is really, really potent against Ember Spirit. He is, in my opinion, the most potent support you can have against an Ember Spirit. Now, there are other heroes who are really good against Ember Spirit, but not at the support level. You can find Storm Spirit's really good against Ember Spirit, just because he can silence him and shut him down. You'll find Batrider can pick him off, and then anyone with a really long disable that can nail it reliably, like Mirana, if you have like something into Mirana, then you can do it. But there aren't too many heroes that can shut down Ember Spirit, and because Ember Spirit is so popular, I think we'll be seeing a lot more silencer pickups, honestly. He's already been in more games recently, and by that I mean more than 0 games, so I think that's actually going to be a big deal, is that we'll start seeing some silencer pickups. He won't be able to be picked up all of the time, and he'll always be picked up as a second support, in my opinion, because of the fact that your first support needs to be more versatile. Like, when you are picking heroes, your most versatile picks are your first picks. And I think that might influence the Ember Spirit pickup. Maybe. It depends. We'll have to see more games in the future to see what happens. But the Ember Spirit as a hero is extremely potent. And he's been proven to be extremely, extremely powerful when he's teamed up with a Tree or a Dazzle. But if you have the right counter picks, he might not be nearly as effective. The global silence into the disarm, that's one thing that is really huge about Silencer that you know is not as well known, is that he forces BKBs out of heroes. So because of the fact that he can cast his last word, and as long as he's level 11, he can cast his ultimate right afterwards, and they will get silenced for 5 seconds, and then after the ultimate's over, they're silenced for 5 seconds and disarmed. And having, I mean, it's a free Heaven's Halberd on top of the 10-second silence. So I take that for what it is, but I think it's really powerful against a hero like an Ember Spirit. And it's also shown to be really powerful against Luna, too. There were like 3 times during that game where Luna was sitting there doing nothing. And usually you can't just do nothing as Luna. Like, very little shuts down a Luna because she has a good mix of magical damage and physical damage, like Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit also has very good magical and physical damage combo, and Silencer works really good against those kind of heroes. So take that for what it is, but I really think Silencer is going to see a little surgence, and we're going to see Ember Spirit possibly, maybe not picked up all of the time if it becomes successful. So yeah, that's about all I've got to say about that. Holy cow, this episode has been going for 2.5 hours. Oh well, it's just a long episode, right? Cool. Well, I guess if anyone has any questions in the Twitch chat, let me know. Let me check. No. So I don't think there will be any questions. I will really work on improving my video quality because it was not up to par today. I apologize. But it's okay. I'll figure it out and it will get better. So coolio, everybody. Yeah. So RoopleeTV, episode number 9. Feel free to check me out on YouTube, RoopleeTV, Twitch, Rooplee, Twitter, Rooplee, or send me an email at RoopleeTV@gmail.com. Cool? Cool. Alrighty, that's it for the show today, everybody. I will have a show tomorrow where I'm actually going to go and analyze pub games. One thing that I've been noticing is that the Sunday episodes sometimes are hit, sometimes are miss. They're a lot more volatile, and I want to try something new. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to try on Sundays to talk about how to improve your game personally in your public matches. I'm going to analyze professional games on Saturday and public games on Sundays. So if you feel free to send me your replays at RoopleeTV@gmail.com. If you want me to analyze your replays and tell you what should be going on, it also helps to get like a general idea of what you want to focus on, because I can tell you for the most part, if you're not getting enough last hits and you're not staying alive enough, those are the 2 main things you should focus on. Get your last hits and don't die. That's what you should focus on. But we will be going over public games on Sunday and every Sunday for the time being, and I want to focus on how you can do better in your public games. Since most of us are not professional players, analyzing professional replays really helps stabilize what you should do. But as far as like actually winning in your games afterwards, we're going to focus on that on Sundays. So tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about like how to basically not lose in pub games and win. So cool. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining in. RoopleeTV, episode 9, signing out.